What's up, everyone? Today we're going to discuss with Tracy Koa, Justin Tumanowski, the top three differences of co-living and then something he's pioneering called microfamily. So I appreciate both of you jumping on today. I know Tracy just traveled across the country, and then Justin, I see a new background. Are you in New England or where are you at?
I am, yeah, new office. Well, thank you, first of all. Tracy, always wonderful to see you. Dustin, thank you so much. Yeah, office in my own home again. So I ended up getting
Oh,
booted from
wow.
my one office, gave that over to Katie. Oh, and I built out a brand new level. So it's a little bit more room, a little more breathing room. And I want to actually have some more activities and have people here and do more content. Just
I love
piling
that.
it on.
Why not? That's what we do.
That's right. And then Tracy was sipping her coffee. You guys didn't hear it. Sipping her coffee right before we hit the record button, but she's caffeining up right now. Is that the right?
Oh, I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got in at 12:30 last night and it's 6:30 my time. But who needs sleep?
Right on.
I'll
Tracy.
sleep tomorrow. Yes, Dustin. I just saw Dustin. I stole his office for the week and a couple days. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in Southern Florida, you've got to go to the Broward meetup that Julie and Yana run. That was tight. That was probably one of the best meetups I've been to. So engaging. They were just spot on with everything. Great speakers. I mean, the whole thing. It was great. Yeah,
Yeah,
check it
no, it
out.
was fun. Justin, curious, like I are very focused on co-living, and then you're pioneering something very similar, like the older brother of co-living. I don't know what we would call it, but it's a form of it, a higher level of it. Could you, you're in an elevator, you have 15 seconds to tell someone what is microfamily. What would you say?
It's small multifamily spun on its head to some degree. Oh, no, you know what? It's small multifamily in 2025, right? So that's all it is. Pace Morby, honestly, about 2 years ago said, hey, dude, there's no one in the small multifamily space. You are small multifamily. That's where you cut your teeth. That's where you started. I started with the BRRRR method. I started with full guts and flipping, really. And then it was progressed into like, wait, hold on. We should probably start to hold these now. And instead of selling them, we were just burring. And so it's all duplexes and triplexes and quads that I started and cut my teeth with. So then he one day said, I think he was actually in Florida for it was a bigger pocket something. Someone gave him a speaking engagement. And he told me that they subsequently asked him for more people to show up. He goes, the problem is you're not at the top of my forefront when I needed someone there. And I'm not thinking of Justin Tumanowski for small multifamily. We need to take this and go microfamily. It's 2024 or 3 when he said it. He's like, let's go microfamily, or let's spin something how you want to craft it, microfamily, micro multifamily, whatever you want to do, call it whatever you want. But I need you at the forefront of my brain so we can take small multifamily that no one's talking about because it's not sexy, it's not cool, and it
Right.
doesn't, get 30, 40, 50 doors, 100 doors and go do those things. Be Grant Cardone. He goes, we need someone to talk about the less sexy. And that's me,
Yeah.
microfamily.
Yeah.
Pretty sexy.
So before like a converting, like I know you have a buy box and stuff like that, but for before you convert something or alter it at all, how many rooms or doors or triplex, like how do you describe it at the early stage?
Yeah, it's still elusive a little bit too, because after all, people are watching. You have to watch what you're saying and portraying and putting out there, but you also have to put it out there categorically sometimes in a way that people can understand or and follow along. I'll give you just a quick example. We took so it was I don't even know the square footage. Let's say it was around 4,000 square foot house. Now, anyone who knows New England, anyone knows the East Coast, I'll say, old, big Victorians. Before we hit record, we were talking about our family and our heritage from coming over from Europe, and wherever we came from to America, our family did. They all essentially went into these old homes in these neighborhoods, and it was actually sectioned off. Like the Italians were here, the Polish were
Right.
here, the Irish were over here. That's just because that's what it was. And there were families that just stuck together. Well, these families also occupied multiple levels and multiple rooms and these large these large single family homes. So now it's fast forward, later, and I have these massive houses that no one can afford, but no one can pay to heat that one big house.
Yeah.
Have 7 kids anymore. That's old school.
Right.
And what do we do with them? They're a burden on these homeowners up here, honestly, because the older they are, the more costly they are to renovate and so on and so forth. So
Well, and the community, right? I mean, the community because they're just sitting there vacant often.
yeah,
you please, they've got to keep a closer eye on them so that they don't fill up, yeah.
And this that I'm actually thinking about, it's 33 of in Derry, New Hampshire, where it's like I own like 12 houses in this neck of the woods. It's the next town over for me. I love it. It's like a mini little town city. It's not a city, doesn't have skyscrapers, but it's the city or the town that's under those ones. It's almost next, but it's never going to get there. All right. Anyway, too much information on that. But what I'm getting at is I've driven by this house so many times and I've come to a stop sign and it stares you right in the face. It's got vines and it's got these things and it's got ladders and this guy's a mess. Whatever they got going on there, it's what about. It's a distressed looking house. It's a driving for dollars house all day long. And I said, one day I'm going to get that. And I promise, I said that it's the wildest thing. And I just mailed him 4 years ago, almost 4.5 years ago now. And I would write letters. I'd send during COVID Dunkin' Donuts cards, like a little $5, $15. And I'd say, I can't meet you, but can I buy you a cup of coffee? He called me.
Wow.
And fast forward now it's like 3.5 years later. He's like, Justin, I'm ready. And we had talked and texted back and forth throughout the years. And I never thought I'd get him, but he said, I'm finally ready. And he goes, I'm giving you first opportunity. You better not be one of those ugly home buyers, is what he said. And so he gives me first shot, first opportunity. And I know this, you guys didn't ask me this. I'm trying to just understand like the dynamics of what we're looking for and how we do this. But
yeah,
it was a single family. Once maybe was a 2-family 100 years ago, but someone converted it back to a single. And then now I get it. And I'm like, all right, what can I do with it? And I think that my vision on seeing that for 3D, and I really do like Pace Morby and see into our freaking lives and futures and souls. And
yeah,
a bunch of things so far in advance. I can do that on a few components of my life. And one of them is these buildings. And I can see and I can break them up in my mind. And so I add staircases and do all these things. So to answer Dustin's question and answer your question was, I took that single family and we cut it into 3 units. Now there are 2 beds and 1 bed. And the 1 bed's about a studio. It's 30 feet by 15. It's got the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom, and a bathroom. There's no walls other than the bathroom.
love it.
And it's micro family. We furnish them or not, but I'm looking for that medium term renter or that long term. That's, I think, where our difference is going to be, because I do short term, medium term, long term in the same dwelling, and it diversifies in the
Love
cash flow.
that. Sure does. Wow. I didn't realize that you did short, long, and midterm in the same. That makes a lot of sense. That's terrific.
So the woman we got in there, actually, she was a divorcee. She needed to escape. She was in Connecticut. She's like, I don't want anyone knowing where I am. My kid lives up this way. I'm divorcing. So Connecticut to Derry, New Hampshire is probably like, I don't know, 2 hours. She came up. I had it. We just finished furnishing it beautifully. My designer did her thing. Tyler, shout out.
You guys, I
And
bet it was gorgeous.
it was nice. And these people put their love it. And my designer puts quality stuff in there. Oh, I don't want any of this. Just get rid of it. It's cool. But I'm like, so it's so funny. You try to do all this and then next thing you know, you don't need, but Dustin, sorry for a long-winded answer, but brother, that's 3 units now. And I'll do that. One little tidbit more, we're buying a motel. It's 12. It's an old 12-unit motel. You open the door, it smells like a beach motel. Tracy and Dustin, you both would know what I'm talking about. Just a dirty beach motel. I don't know what that smell is, and the rooms are about the size of a small little car. And they have like 2 or 3 beds. It's impossible. I mean, if you're a micro family, I think that's really what the definition should be, but it's not what we cater to. The bathroom's like 5 by 5 room out right on the landing. You go right out to the sidewalk. No thanks. But we're going to take that building. We're going to turn it around. And I think what we're going to do is maybe about 10. I think through zoning and all the things we went through, we were going from 15 or 17 units. I think we're only going to get about 10 now, but those are all going to have kitchenettes, living rooms, 1 to 2 bedrooms. So we'll take these and convert them. And I'll stop right there.
Yeah, and I know you did one of your recent ones, or I guess it was fall. It was the church, right?
Yeah, and that's where I'm furnishing and wrapping up. That one took a little longer. We're almost a year on that. But, bought $1 million, great creative finance deal, bought $1 million into it. And that's going to be 10, same thing. So 10 units. It was a Catholic, it looks like a fortress to some degree. It's all granite, all stone. And it's really
gorgeous.
Actually, it's really cool. It really was. And there's not a crooked thing in it, which is incredible. But the Catholic Church, anyone knows any of the churches, they put a lot of money into these things back in the day. And so we looked at that. Yeah, I mean, with quality product, things aligned, but we're going to have 10 units. So what we'll have there is speaking with the town, asking for permission. We like to now ask for things or ask what they want. And I think it's that whole notion, and Tracy, you would know this, it's like that you get more with honey than you do with vinegar.
That's right.
And for this one, and sometimes folks, I understand you have to play both sides of that coin, and sometimes it's better to ask for permission. But with them, I said, "What do you want?" And they said, we've looked for a hotel. We've had a hotel study since 1980, and we never had a hotel here." So I'm
Wow.
like, "Well, I don't think you're ready for the Hilton, but I think you're ready for a multifamily type of dwelling where it's going to be micro units. Think of like the residence and units with the kitchenette in it. That's essentially what we're going with, but it's just going to be, modern in a type of building, and it's going to be cool and not in the residence
That,
inn all stuffy and,
right. Yeah. A lot when my daughter was young. One of the things I loved to do, well, one, didn't have a lot of money, so I had to be really frugal. But we would stay at youth hostels, and a lot of them will have these where you can get your own little room, or you get a room with maybe like one or two women. And that's the thing I really loved is that we were traveling and we weren't just alone. Especially too, traveling, a woman traveling alone. It is really nice to feel like you've got people around you and support if something were to go wrong. But I think have a similar vibe in which you've got this warm, homey environment that people can come, whether they're staying for a week, a month, a year, or they're just, whatever the key. That provides just extra value in and of itself.
Well, I love that too. But you know what? To go on top of that too, so you're with your daughter. How about go downstairs into the amenity center and have some video games, or get some
Yeah,
Wi-Fi, or go do some work together, and she can be in the game room, and you can be raising private capital in the war room,
that's right.
and you get to work from
Yeah,
there as well. It's all for free,
yeah,
like included in your.
right. Yeah.
So
Gosh, I
Justin,
love that.
with this more dynamic approach of these different, so you said short term, medium, long, is all your management in-house? Are you outsourcing it? Like, how are you
Great
these?
question.
So far, yeah, I think we're there. I spoke to an old man years ago, local, and he had 50 to 100 doors. And he's like, "Justin, you're not ready yet to hire somebody. I think, I'll keep it in house." He's like, "You can do it within." And now you got to be careful who you listen to. But
The truth.
yeah, but I think like
When's the last went on vacation?
oh, I know. Like hanging out with you guys vacation, honestly, it was Dallas,
Totally.
and just bought a lake house. We're buying like a package of lake houses. I'm going up there after this interview
The
or after I want
package.
the next interview. My vacation is working and doing that, and my kids were up there.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah.
But I know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I would say we're almost there. We're looking at a mill right now. So an old mill building. And I think when I add like 30 more, we're going to be adding 30 more under development. I guarantee you I'm going to have to do something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, my wife happy.
Well, it's just, when you get to that point where, it's been beneficial for you to have somebody helping oversee your portfolio so that things don't get lost in the mix, right? Things don't fall through the cracks. As we grow, it's definitely harder to keep track of all the little pieces, right? So, yeah.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
would you, so like, for example, the angle, someone's watching this, they're familiar with co-living already, and a lot are using pad split to fill it. What is one way that you are expecting to fill these more unique? Like, is it no, they do rent by the room now or something similar?
Yeah. So the room model is not our model, although we do have some of the co-living that you would have. I would look for someone like you guys to run that asset, right? So I love that model, and I think it's great. I'm just not equipped, nor do I have I think it's something in me is just kind of old school where I'm just like, I want everyone to have their own bathroom. I want you to have a lock on that door and have your own little kitchenette. I'm just a unit type of guy, like a
Yeah, I like
multifamily
that.
single. So I love the co-living. We do it. I would find someone like you to operate it, but I lost the question where we went with that. But
More so filling it. Is it just standard
yeah,
property manager style? And
bro, we can't. So that's the cool part right now about this medium term rental stuff and how to fill that. We are actively working on a platform ourselves along with Deal Sauce and Paces, where we medium term slash co-living platform to handle all this and to actually bring in clients and folks to occupy these units. But we're not having a problem at all. I just put an offer in another single family yesterday, another sub two student up in our neck of the woods, New England. He's like, "Dude, I got a New Hampshire sub two deal, which are kind of rare." So I'm like, I will buy any one of those houses that are
Nice.
it's a pretty loose buy box and it almost doesn't cash flow. But I'm looking at going 3% interest rate. I can fill this thing tomorrow because we've aligned with other companies. And I'll give you an example. One's called, I always call them but they'll take, mentally handicapped children or young adults, and they may be able to live on their own. They probably get some sort of check every month, and they have an aide or a nurse every day that shows up to that house where they live. And I think someone stays overnight. But I give an office to the nurse or whoever's there. They have their own little space. And then the gentlemen, they get picked up by a van every day.
Go to
And
work.
they go to work. You know that. And they go to the grocery store and they probably bag groceries and that type of thing. And they come back home and they have this place to live. So again, for me is they sign a 3-year lease every 3 years. They take care of all the property management. They put a generator in. You know, I think if it's, or there's a roof leak or something, you're calling us.
Wow.
And so the shower valve may have like stopped working. And Kate goes, "You have a maintenance man." And there was no reply. Like there was someone
It's like a
forgot.
triple almost.
It's exactly. I call it a triple net, but I pay the taxes.
Love that.
So yeah, I know I off right there, but what I'm looking at is to try to condense this down for anyone who's listening is on a single family or a multifamily. I'll go to, depends on what I look at. I go, if this is an area that I know these third party companies or these nonprofits will be interested in, they always know what we have. They're asking us, what do you have? We need stuff. Also, they're giving us shitty landlords because they know how good we treat them and
Yes.
how nice our assets are. They go, "Hey, this old man's going to be selling soon." They give us leads. It's so
That's
awesome.
it.
And then what we'll do is Zillow, apartments.com, and we have now in the medium term space, insurance rentals and a bunch of insurance folks that know
Yes.
who we are.
That's huge. I want to pause and talk about that really quick. I get a lot of folks that reach out to me with that intention, right? They want to partner up with an agency because they hear stories like this, right? So people are watching this, they're hearing your story, they're like, yeah, I'm going to buy that blowing house and da da da. But what they don't realize is that you can't just right out of the gate typically go find the agency. That takes time of building those relationships. So if that's something you want to do, find your market and start to build relationships before you buy the house. I get a lot of people, they reach out, they own the house, they're in debt. You know, they don't have the reserves to keep, they don't have the relationship. So I always remind people, I mean, we know you, I'm sure you took a lot of time to build it.
Yeah, when I have the props where they're due is first of all, it's my wife because she's taking the bull by the horns, but it's the relationship building and friends throughout the New England, sub to New England, I'll say, and sub to in general. It's Dylan Sevick. So Dylan and now it's Keith Sheridan, they're teamed up, but Dylan came from the Jesse Vasquez camp, who's a friend of mine, friend of Pace's. Jesse runs the medium term space. And Jesse ended up like, I've heard of it's like, he's a really good Jesse's. So then Dylan comes to us and he's like, "Hey," and this is where community actually helps. And whether this is ethical or not, I maybe get cut out. Who knows? I let him borrow my properties at first so he can build up his portfolio because he's already in with the insurance companies. So he's like,
Love
"Dude, you got a bunch of houses. Can I take those houses and put them in my insurance portfolio so they see that I got all this stuff? Now I go into a different tier. Now I look like a better person. Now I can get better results and better inquiries."
Mhm.
So, you know what? Maybe we hack the system a little bit, but he doesn't need my help anymore. But vice versa, he helped me, and I'll fill these and
Right.
learn. And
Right.
he's giving me value for nothing. And I think that exchange in value is so powerful. But it's like, what do you have? What do you need?
Right.
I had something. I need something as well. I need what you have, and I'm going to give you what I have to freaking leverage.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing now on our projects, right? We recognize that one of the barriers in co-living is that, people, like, funding is huge, right? And go to get funding, everyone's like, oh, I'm just getting a DSCR loan. Well, if you've never applied for a DSCR loan, guess what? You're not just going to go get one. On the last one we did, we actually had to submit our resumes to the lender. They wanted to see for the three of us our years of experience. Because when you're getting into co-living, especially if you're getting a pre-existing or something like that, it's a whole different loan product, right? So what we decided is our investors that are investing with us, they start to build the credibility. We're on the operating agreement with them, right? They're not just a JV partner with us or a true equity owner. So now they're on the HUD. Now they get to build up that resume. When they go show, their HUDs, nobody's asking, own a tenth or do you own the whole thing? They're just able to show that they have properties that are performing. And so again, that's, how can we serve people even more? Of course, we would love for you to invest with us, but what else can we give back to you other than just an awesome return, which is awesome,
Yeah,
is great. But
go
yeah,
show your put the on the wall trends like you have something to gloat about now, or promote.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I love you help kind of bring them along.
Yeah. So there's obviously a ton of different that you can convert into this micro family. For anyone watching, let's say they're like, I want to sell Justin a deal. Well, what would you say is the number one asset that you are looking to convert currently? Like it's a hotel, a church, an old store. Like what would you call it?
Grocery store, a good one, actually. I never thought of that. Bro,
Leave it to Dustin.
everyone's, I know these days, and it's not just the churches. So honestly, I think it's harder money to be made, honestly. So yeah, you can sell a deal to me, you make money, and great. Thank you for that value. But I would say really unique properties, anything that's going to be probably not a complete, you can't tear it down, right? So those defunct storefronts that are on the main street or near Main Street and the retail has died, and the old ass landlord has not kept up with that property. And there's a lot of those, right, in these smaller towns. And I know Ann McNamara is doing that whole downtown
Yeah.
revitalization. So I think there's some similarities with us where I think she just wants to update those properties. Well, that's what I'm doing as well. I'm updating those type of properties. So there's some coexisting stuff there. But yeah, bro, it's church. I'm into like the fire stations, smaller multi that could probably be cut up a little bit more. I know they can. A mill building right now. These are all bucket list items that I'm taking care of now, which is the cool part. Then there's the motels, like the easier ones. Let's take a motel in the 60s. I'm buying a 1964 motel and let's just freaking add another level on it. Let's sexy it up. Let's dress it up. Let's cut it up. It's a full gut. Take the roof off, add the roof, add the walls, dress it up, fill the walls in. I'm making it simplified to some degree, but it's easy.
Yeah. And people need to understand you've been just a long time. You were an electrician before you got into real estate, like full time. So it sounds, for you, it's easy peasy. I think similarly, when you're bringing on investors, it's really helpful for them. They're probably not as involved in the process as maybe ours are, but they're still able to follow along and see kind of what's going on and glean on whether or not that's the type of project that they really want to get involved in. I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, this is going to do it. Go invest with Justin first, get the ropes.
Yeah, and that's funny
Big deal.
And you said means that's actually true too, because on the other side of that, if you want to learn, that's great. But a collaborator and a fellow Owners Club member, Elliot Whitmere, he invested in the church with us. And that was something where he goes, I've been looking at deals. I get so many a day. And he goes, he finally came across ours. And he's like, that's the one. He said it within like a moment. And he's like, that speaks to me. That's what I want to do. I want to take a cool property, convert it, do the thing. And that's what drives me. That's where I come from. That's my grandfather that, taught me all this.
Wow.
Like, old stuff it's harder to make. It's a harder thing. You're going to lose money on it. Most often it's going to take more time, more money. I don't recommend it to anyone who's not skilled to get into this. But at the end of the day, the final product is what I'm after. I'm after that, like, damn, that thing's badass. And I knew you keep those old components in there and put this modern, and we brought this old product back to life. The town's happy. We're happy. We have some accomplishment, and then we're going to be cash flowing and doing all these things together. So
I love it.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah. If I
It's
could
not.
recap, here's the three differences I'm hearing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but at least three major ones. You are converting the zoning on things. Typically, not all, but a lot of them aren't single family or something, and you're working with the city to do that. The second is you're not doing rent by the room, you're breaking up something big into a couple chunks where they have separate locks, separate kitchens, bathrooms, all that. Then the third, at least your style, was in one building, you're doing short term, medium term, and long term. Like it's very diversified. Would you would you say there's something higher on this list of like what differentiates with co-living?
No, I would say, like, other than, some of these old antiquated towns, you all in the head, first of all, Dustin. And some of the towns, and in particular, the property in Gardner, Maine, the one that's the church property, I tried to do something like the co-living to get more doors, and they called it a boarding house. And these old antiquated towns and it has that stigma. And I don't know if you guys have run into this or not. I don't.
Yeah.
Boarding house.
Definitely.
I'm sitting in Tracy. I'm sitting the mayor, the city inspector, and the town manager, and all the people. And it's Jeremy, another sub 2 student up in New England with me, Stanley, and myself. And the mayor looks over at Chris, the inspector, and she goes, is that the boarding house? Because I said, like, I can do the boarding house. Because I was really just saying, like, give me what I want. I'll give you what you want, or I can do the boarding house that's rightfully allowed to do. She looks at the inspector. She goes, is that the boarding house over on whatever street? And he goes, yeah, the one with the police there every day. Yeah, that one. And she's like,
Boy.
yeah, we don't want that. But can you give us 2 long-term tenants and we'll give you whatever else you would like. So just give us 2 long-term rentals for the town
Perfect.
and we'll give you your bill. And they go, we'll issue your building permit today.
You're like, you got it.
So there's a dance that we have to play up here. I could have went into the co-living space, but I would hate for you guys, you would have to probably pitch that so damn well to take my property. And if you were in my shoes, and you would probably have an uphill battle convincing them that a rent by or a co-living type is not going to bring transients and the negative stigma that it might carry in these places that are not familiar with that product.
Right. And that also takes too, often you have to have some assets in that community already. So you've built up a reputation. You've taken the time, you've gone to the building department. So who you are, right? They appreciate, they see your product. They're, yeah, okay, we know these guys are doing good. Just showing up out of the blue, you're like, hey, you don't know me. You don't know anything about me. I have no experience in construction either. And by the way, I've also never been a landlord, but hey, I want to do this. They're like, get out of here, quit wasting my time.
Yeah.
So it just goes back to the relationships, doing it first, having some,
Giving the
it's the
honey rather than
honey.
the vinegar.
The honey. Yeah. You can't just, a lot of people show up, they're like, oh, this is terrible. The county, the city, they're awful. It's like, did you go in there with your out right off the bat? Or did you go in there and show them that you've taken the time to, like, for example, look through the city? It's one thing to go in and go, hey, gosh, I've gone through all the regs, but maybe this is kind of what I'm not really, there's somewhere else that I'm missing. That shows them I've taken the time to look through all the material that you took the time to put together. Maybe I didn't understand it all. Maybe I didn't find the thing, but I'm walking in here showing you that I did put in the time, and I appreciate the time you put in to help me get here,
Yeah. And Dustin and Tracy, so thank you. Expand on that too. And I'll tell you, just to spin off on the last thing you said, rather go in there with the honey rather than the vinegar, and don't come in with the handout. And what do you have for me? Someone before me, not on that asset, but they took a small, I guess, hospital or some sort of outpatient clinic hospital down the road. And an investor came in, and I always say he came in with his, big thing swinging. He put it on the table and said, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing here. They told me this subsequently after the same meeting, that they gave me the building permit and I gave them what they wanted. And she says, we were so nervous that you were going to come in here and guns a-blazing. And she goes, I couldn't have been pleased and with the opposite. She goes, but forgive us for a little standoff. They were standoffish at first because of that gentleman who came in guns blazing. I got the checkbook. You're not going to tell me. I'm an investor. Do this. And I'm like, no. And so then subsequently we finished. She goes, we have other buildings we want you to look at. So it's not like that everywhere. I got the pitchforks, got the torches. I'm in a town right now, and one last thing to spin on what you said. And thank you for giving me this platform to actually just word vomit. But and I think the co-living and the microfamily are so similar. And I think we're in the same genre to some degree, in that there is a lot of similarities. But ADUs, accessory dwelling units, now they're casitas and senoritas, whatever.
Mother-in-law units, whatever you want to call them.
There are a million names for them, but up here we call them accessory dwelling units, ADUs. The state of New Hampshire on the 15th of May just passed a by right, like other states, but by right you have one in your single family.
That's right.
If you have single family designation, they were pushing for 2 by right per property owner.
Wow, that's
Imagine
fantastic.
that. You buy a single family house, you automatically got a triplex. They shelved it for a moment, but they just passed. So I'm in a town where the pitchforks and torches already came out. I bought a farmhouse, 5 acres, this whole thing. I ended up selling it because they were so nasty to us. And I just bought these package of lake houses, and I go, I'm going to put ADUs on them. And so I immediately went back to the building inspector. I sent him an email. Hey, it's Justin again. And Jeremy, still sweet, but they're kind of nasty. And again, antiquated towns, they don't want their taxes raised. They like what they have. They're a lake community, don't grow, stay generational family. And he's like, you're going to need this. And I'm looking at, you're not the owner right now. So why? He literally looked up the owner to confirm that I'm not the owner. I'm like, dude, I'm asking you a question about a building permit. And
I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm coming in
asking,
saying, I want to buy this. So I'm finding out ahead of time.
Yeah.
But they're like, we don't like this.
I don't even think you're the owner right now, is what he's saying to me. So dude, all right. So you already know where that is. So long story short, I sent him an email. I know what he was looking for, and I know the requirements. You better be owner occupied for 4 months, blah, 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 blah. Well, they had just passed the law, and I wanted to see if he was in touch with it. And I'm kind of baiting him a little bit, but I also want to see where this is at. And I came with all this. So he replied all these other things. And they said, hey, did you see that HB 577 just got passed? I'd love to know when you're going to adopt this. He had everyone else attached to that email. Long story. Like, I don't mean to get nasty, but know your laws, what you are entitled to, because do your research. Now they have to streamline my process. That hostility that they actually put a law in to prevent, because a lot of me are getting the same results. And you want housing, we need housing, but we as a whole don't get building permits up here. It's so bad. Like, we are declining in building permits almost. And
Wow.
the laws of there now, they actually don't require anyone to be associated with, I think, living it there as a homeowner, which is pretty gnarly. So it used to be like either or you can occupy, neither. Streamlined, by right,
Love it.
no special exception. You're going to get the
Love
permit.
that.
And if they block you, you can recite this article. So ADUs are now going to be incorporated, where I'm taking all these houses and these little houses that we have, and we're adding ADUs. So just bought a 2-bedroom. We're putting another 2-bedroom tiny home on there. So now again, it's a duplex. Those are micro. It's 600 square foot, 2-bed, and they're pretty gnarly. And it's going to cost me they're like under $100,000.
Yeah.
So
That's fantastic.
Justin throwing out on the lair and
We love it.
going wild.
It's what we love about you. You do go out on a limb and go wild.
I want a fire station and I want a school and a brick school. I want a brick schoolhouse. And these are all I want. I am saying I want. It sounds very like, Daddy, I want. Yes.
That's how you get.
Yeah.
You need to want first in order to get.
Yeah. As a boy, I actually tried to buy my little preschool. I went to preschool with in my state representative. I think she's a senator now. Her and I went to school together. And I'm like, Diana, what are you guys doing with that? And she's like, Justin, I'm trying to save it. I'm not trying to sell it. But it was this brick school. It's this brick schoolhouse. It's 2.5 stories. It's probably got like a dozen classrooms in it. And they're, big, tall. It was, the fallouts in the basement back in the, so it's probably like
That's
30s,
right.
40s build. So anyway, yeah, I would love to take that and make it like a 9-plex, something like that. And again, those are staples where I want to do the research and then like brand it with the school insignia or something and pay. That's what I do with these properties. We pay tribute to them. We put the signatures up, the signage, we do the research, and so deep. And then a fire station, an old red brick type of fire station with the 2 big front doors or a single front door, whatever it is. But those are gnarly. Those, I just don't have the time to do the research to find those. When they do come up, most often it's an agent that has those, but I'm not on Zillow and MLS, and I don't have enough time to look. So that would be pretty dope if something did come up. And I would say like within an hour and a half of, if looking at a map, it's Manchester, New Hampshire. So it gives you Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, probably. So I get a couple states in that hour and a half, and just hit me up on Instagram or Justin Tumanowski or JV realestatejustin.com //JV. And we're going to reach right back out to you. Excuse me. That's it.
I want to say, not a question. I just want to say, when you get that schoolhouse, you're going to get that one because you're putting it out there. Justin and I want to be your first investors on that.
So
I love the
my
schoolhouse.
teacher.
You know me. Right. Exactly. Right. And, Justin and I have been talking about that too. That's something we want to start doing, is we want to start investing in our other investor friends. What a better way, right, to support one another. And I think it also, it shows the community how much we really do. We're not chit-chatting. We know about your business intimately. We believe in you. We trust you. Why wouldn't we be investing in one another? We're not really doing that, which is kind of ironic. So Justin and I talked about that with our new business. As soon as we get to a place where we feel comfortable have our business, start investing in other people's businesses within the community that we know. So that's us right there.
That's awesome.
Schoolhouse. You got us.
And you being a teacher and all the years that you were a teacher and educator, still educating, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah.
That is pretty awesome. And it is something you actually bring up. We notice and you look back and you go, yeah, like we're all collaborators and friends and we all share each other's, maybe offer advice, but yeah, are we actually jumping in or investing in?
Yeah.
And it is a rare thing. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
I love that so much.
Goodness, is it that best? What tickets did I not buy yet? But
yeah, that's always the way.
Monterey, it'll be fun.
I thought I bought a hotel room, and the other, I don't know, like a week ago, I go, where's the email for the hotel? And I didn't. I started to book it, and then I didn't finish. Anyway, I'm staying around the corner.
I did the same. I think I got my ticket and no, but
yeah.
No, thank you guys so much, honestly. And I love seeing your content. I love that you guys collaborated together. Dustin, I know you. Tracy, I knew you a little bit more prior to, but Dustin, you're doing the thing. Now I think of Florida. It's funny, like you meet so many people in these communities, but it's like only a couple people now. I'm like, I almost feel like, wait, I know so many people, but a few people I think about in certain areas, and you are one of those people. And Tracy, of course, you. And I love that you guys are collaborating together. So I'd love to
But yeah,
help in any way.
thank you. We appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, two smarty pants. Get it. It's good.
We both feel really blessed to have met one another and partnered up. It's pretty cool.
I love it. No, thanks for having me.